Boches. I'm Chief Innovation Officer at Mullen, and I'm a former grad of BU's College of Communication. Primarily because the consumer is involved with everything as a participant, as a content creator, as a sharer, as a distribution channel. Actually, for us advertisers to have to learn how to interact with consumers in real time. That means they can't package up a campaign, send it out the door all approved, and all produced and ready to go. They've got to deal with that reality of the web. The fact of the matter is that is a public relations skill, far less often an advertising skill. To be completely transparent, to be totally authentic, to engage and encounter everything from support to criticism to disagreements head-on, to try to get out of the mindset of pushing out messages that just fulfill your own brand agenda, but instead bringing content and utility to the web that's going to provide added value to consumers. The best place I think anybody can look if they're in public relations or advertising is to look at what Burberry does with things like Instagram and Twitter and TwitPic and the ways in which it's actually let the consumer inside brand experiences using all of the new platforms. Number one, you have to use all of the platforms and you have to use them actively. If you don't play with them, if you don't use them, if you don't master the techniques and the tactics, you can never use them both for yourself or for clients. So you need to have a blog, you need to be on Twitter, you need to be playing around with Google+, you need to try some of the new interest graph platforms like SpringPad and Pinterest, which will be even more important later on. Number two is to identify now, while you're young, while you're still in school, the people that someday you may want to work for or work with, and start engaging with them. Don't spam them, don't ask them for an interview, but learn the nomenclature and the practices of the platform. So support their work, engage with them, ask questions. After a while, perhaps share one of your ideas with them, solicit feedback, maybe even offer to perform freelance work for them, on campus. The third thing is to try to get over the old practices you might have brought with you from high school, such as a little too much of the personal sharing. I think there's a role for that, but I think you've got to start to think about your brand needing to be focused on business and how smart you are and your knowledge, and etc. So, not too much alcohol, not too much sex, not too much bare skin, although it's probably a little bit more accepted in the advertising world and in the PR world. But I would say, cut back on some of that kind of stuff, and you'll do fine.